Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let's dive into the story. The next morning, Emma couldn't stop replaying the events of the previous night in her head. Her face flushed with embarrassment every time she thought about how she had stormed out of the restaurant. She had sat at the wrong table, mistaken a stranger for her blind date, and made a fool of herself. "What were you thinking?" she muttered to herself as she looked at her phone, scrolling through messages from Jenny, who was clearly enjoying her friend's misfortune. "So, how was Mr. Right? Or should I say Mr. Wrong?" Jenny had texted. Emma quickly swiped the message away, her stomach turning at the thought of the mix-up. She tried to shake off the awkwardness. It was just a blind date, after all, but it still felt like a disaster. There was no way she could show her face at that restaurant again. At the same time, Liam Parker was having a similar internal struggle. As he sat at his penthouse, looking out at the New York City skyline, he couldn't shake the memory of Emma. Her smile, her nervous laughter, it had all been so real. Something about her was different. She wasn't like the other women he usually encountered in his world of business and wealth. He found himself wondering about her, more than he should. He had met so many people in his life, but none had left such an impression on him in such a short amount of time. He had wanted to correct her when she first sat down at his table, but something had stopped him. Now he regretted it. He had no idea why, but he needed to see her again. The next few days passed without incident, but Emma couldn't help feeling a nagging sense of curiosity about Liam. She found herself thinking about him more often than she wanted to admit. She had never met someone like him before, someone so put together, yet so distant. She had assumed he was just another rich businessman, probably used to people trying to get something from him. But there was something in the way he listened to her, the way he didn't judge her for being a waitress, that had caught her off guard. It was something she hadn't experienced before in her life. Then, out of nowhere, Emma received a text message that would change everything. The message was simple, but it made her heart race. "Hi Emma, it's Liam. I'd like to apologize for the other night. I think we got off on the wrong foot. Would you like to meet for coffee sometime?" She stared at the message for a few moments, unsure of how to respond. Her first instinct was to ignore it. After all, she had no reason to see him again. But then she thought about how genuine he had seemed, how kind he was despite her embarrassing mistake. A part of her wanted to believe that maybe, just maybe, there was more to him than just being some rich guy with a suit. After a few seconds of deliberation, Emma typed out a quick response. "Hi Liam, I appreciate your message. I'll meet you for coffee. But no promises," she wrote, trying to keep it casual. She hit send, feeling a strange mix of excitement and apprehension. What would it be like to see him again? Would he still be as charming, or would he brush her off as just another awkward encounter? She didn't know, but she couldn't deny the curiosity gnawing at her. The next morning, Emma nervously walked into the small cafe where she had agreed to meet Liam. It wasn't a fancy place, nothing like the upscale restaurant from the other night, but it felt comfortable and safe. She scanned the room, looking for him, but there was no sign of him yet. She ordered a coffee and found a table by the window, trying to calm her nerves. She hadn't expected to be so anxious. But then again, she had never been in a situation like this before. As she sat there, tapping her fingers on the table, she heard a familiar voice. "Emma." Liam's voice was soft but clear, and when she turned to see him standing there, dressed in a casual jacket and jeans, it almost felt like nothing had changed. The tension she had felt before melted away a little. He didn't look like the high-powered CEO she had imagined. He looked like a normal person, just like her. She stood up to greet him, and they shared a brief, awkward hug before sitting down. "I'm glad you could make it," Liam said, smiling. "I wanted to apologize again for the other night. I didn't mean for things to get so awkward." Emma nodded, a little embarrassed. "It's fine, really. I'm the one who made the mistake. I shouldn't have run off like that." There was a brief silence before Liam spoke again. "I've been thinking about you, about that night. You were different, Emma. You weren't just another person trying to impress me, and that was refreshing." Emma felt a flush of warmth spread across her cheeks at his words. She hadn't expected him to say something like that. She smiled, feeling a little more at ease. "Well, I'm just me. I don't know how to be anything else, she said, her voice a little lighter now. They spent the next hour talking about everything and nothing, about her dreams of opening her own art studio, about his work in tech, though he still left out the part about being a CEO, and about the randomness of their first meeting. It felt natural, easy, as if they were getting to know each other for the first time. By the time they said goodbye, Emma felt a strange sense of connection to him, something she hadn't expected. As she walked back to her apartment later that day, Emma couldn't help but smile to herself. Maybe this wasn't just a one-time thing. Maybe there was something real here after all. As the days passed, Emma found herself thinking about Liam more and more. Their coffee meeting had been simple, but something had shifted. There was a connection between them, something real that she hadn't expected. She couldn't deny the fact that she was drawn to him, but at the same time, she didn't want to get her hopes up too quickly. After all, she had made a fool of herself once already. And yet, there was something about him that felt different. He wasn't like the others. He didn't treat her like just another waitress or some girl who was trying to climb the social ladder. Emma didn't hear from Liam for a few days after their meeting, and she tried to push the thoughts of him out of her mind. She kept busy with her shifts at the diner, her sketchbook filled with designs for her dream art studio, and her never-ending struggle to make ends meet. But the more she worked, the more she found herself thinking about Liam and wondering if he would reach out again. She had convinced herself that maybe he had just been being polite, that their connection had been fleeting. But deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more. Then, one evening, as she was closing up the diner, she got a message from him. Hey Emma, I hope you're doing well. I know this might sound strange, but I'd really like to see you again. Would you be interested in joining me for a charity event this weekend? I think you'd enjoy it. The message was simple, but it made Emma's heart race. She hadn't expected him to invite her to something like that, an event that was clearly outside her usual world. She stared at the message for a moment, unsure of what to do. It wasn't just a casual coffee anymore. This was something bigger. But there was a part of her that couldn't resist the idea of seeing him again. After a few moments of contemplation, Emma replied, I'd love to go. It sounds interesting. Thank you for inviting me. She hit send, and immediately felt a rush of excitement. She wasn't sure what to expect, but she knew that this was more than just a casual invitation. There was something real between them, and the idea of stepping into his world, even for one night, felt like an opportunity she couldn't pass up. The night of the event, Emma stood in front of her closet, nervously picking through her clothes. She had nothing extravagant to wear, but she knew she needed to look presentable. She found a simple black dress, one she had worn to a few family gatherings, and paired it with a pair of heels she had bought on sale months ago. It wasn't much, but it would have to do. She took a deep breath as she looked at herself in the mirror, wondering if she was overthinking it. What if she didn't belong there? What if she stuck out like a sore thumb among all the wealthy guests? But then, she remembered Liam's kind words, how he had made her feel like she was worth something. Maybe tonight would be different. When Emma arrived at the venue, she was greeted by a sea of well-dressed people mingling in the grand ballroom. The place was decorated beautifully. Elegant chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and the soft hum of conversation filled the air. She felt a little out of place, but she pushed aside her nerves as she scanned the room for Liam. She spotted him across the room, standing near a group of people, looking as confident and composed as ever. His sharp suit and effortless charm made him stand out among the crowd. When he saw her, his face lit up, and he made his way over to her. I'm so glad you made it, Liam said, his smile genuine as he took her hand in his. You look amazing. Emma felt her cheeks flush at the compliment, unsure of what to say. Thank you. I wasn't sure if I'd fit in here, but it's beautiful. Liam chuckled softly, his eyes sparkling with amusement. You belong here as much as anyone else, he said. Come on, let me introduce you to some people. They spent the evening moving through the event, talking to different guests and enjoying the elegant atmosphere. As the night went on, Emma began to feel more comfortable. She laughed with Liam, shared stories, and even found herself enjoying the conversations with some of the other attendees. It wasn't as intimidating as she had thought. In fact, she realized that the more time she spent with Liam, the more she felt like she was part of something bigger, something that felt real. Later in the evening, as they stepped outside onto the balcony to take a break from the noise inside, Emma found herself alone with Liam. The cool night air brushed against her skin, and she looked out over the city, taking in the view. It was a peaceful moment, away from the hustle of the event. "I'm glad you came," Liam said quietly, breaking the silence. "I've been thinking about you a lot lately. About how easy it is to talk to you. How different it feels with you." Emma turned to face him, her heart pounding in her chest. She hadn't expected him to say anything like that. She hadn't realized how much she had been hoping for him to say it. "I'm glad I came too," she said softly. "I wasn't sure at first, but it's been nice." There was a brief pause before Liam took a step closer to her. "I'm not good at this," he admitted, his voice low. "I've spent so much time building my career, my life, that I didn't realize what was missing. But being with you, it feels different." Emma felt a rush of emotion she hadn't expected. She had never been good at trusting people, especially not someone from a world so different from hers. But there was something about Liam, something real and honest in his words, that made her believe him. She looked up at him, her eyes meeting his. "What do you want, Liam?" she asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. He smiled, his gaze softening. "I want to figure this out with you. I want to see where this goes." For the first time in a long time, Emma felt something shift inside her. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the beginning of something real. The days following the charity event seemed to pass in a blur. Emma couldn't help but replay every moment in her mind, especially the quiet conversation with Liam on the balcony. It had been a turning point for her, a moment where she finally saw him as more than just a businessman in a suit. There was something real between them, something deeper than what she had expected. She couldn't shake the feeling that maybe, just maybe, they were on the brink of something meaningful. As for Liam, he found himself constantly thinking about Emma as well. Her laugh, the way her eyes lit up when she talked about her dreams, the warmth she radiated. It had all stayed with him long after the night ended. The more time he spent with her, the more he realized how different she was from the women he usually interacted with in his world of business and wealth. Emma wasn't trying to impress him or use him to get ahead. She was just herself. And that honesty was something he had longed for, though he hadn't realized it until now. One afternoon, a few days later, Liam called Emma. "Hey, Emma, I was wondering if you'd like to join me for lunch tomorrow. Just us, no events. I thought it might be nice to spend some time without any distractions." Emma's heart fluttered at the thought. She had been so wrapped up in her own life, her work, and her dreams, that she hadn't taken a moment to just enjoy the company of someone who seemed to genuinely care about her. She agreed immediately, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. This felt different from anything she had experienced before. The next day, they met at a small, quiet cafe in the city. It was a far cry from the elegant venues they had visited before, and that was exactly what made it perfect. They sat down in a cozy corner by the window, the soft sound of jazz music playing in the background. Liam had changed out of his usual suit and wore something more relaxed, a simple button-down shirt and jeans. He looked just like any other guy in the cafe, and for the first time, Emma didn't feel out of place. "So, tell me more about this art studio you've been dreaming of," Liam asked, his voice warm and inviting as he sipped his coffee. He seemed genuinely interested in what she had to say, and that made Emma's heart swell. She leaned in a little, eager to share her thoughts. "Well, it's been a dream for years," she said, her voice softening as she spoke. "I've always loved art, painting, sketching, anything creative. But it's been hard, working 2 jobs, paying rent, just trying to get by. I've had to put it on hold, but one day, I want to open a studio, a place where I can share my work and help others find their passion too." She smiled shyly, feeling vulnerable but at ease with him. "It sounds silly when I say it out loud, but it's something I've always wanted to do." Liam listened intently, his gaze never leaving hers. He wasn't distracted by his phone or by the other people in the cafe. It was as if, in that moment, nothing else mattered but the two of them. "It's not silly at all," he said quietly. "It sounds amazing. I can't wait to see it happen." Emma blinked, surprised by his sincerity. She had expected him to brush it off or change the subject, but instead, Liam was completely invested in her dream. She smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you," she said, feeling a little overwhelmed by the kindness in his words. It means a lot to hear that. For the rest of the lunch, they continued talking about their dreams, their lives, and their experiences. Emma felt more relaxed with each passing minute. The way Liam listened, the way he seemed to genuinely care about what she had to say, It was something she wasn't used to, and yet, it felt so natural. They were two people from very different worlds, but in that moment, they felt completely in sync. As they finished their meal, Liam leaned back in his chair, his eyes thoughtful. "You know," he began, "I've been thinking a lot about what we talked about the other night, about how everything feels different with you. It's not just the way you see things, or how you talk. It's the way you make me feel. Like, I don't have to be perfect, I don't have to live up to expectations. I can just be myself around you." Emma felt her heart skip a beat at his words. She had been trying to put into words how she felt, but Liam had said it better than she could. "I feel the same way," she said softly. "It's not often that you meet someone and just feel like you can be real with them. No pretenses, no pressure. It's refreshing." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, the connection between them undeniable. Emma realized that she wasn't just falling for the man Liam portrayed to the world, the successful, powerful CEO. She was falling for the man who was willing to open up, to share pieces of himself that most people never saw. And that made all the difference. After they left the cafe, Liam walked her to her car, his hand gently brushing hers as they said goodbye. "I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes," he said, his voice soft but filled with hope. Emma smiled, her heart fluttering in her chest. "Me too," she replied, watching as he walked away, a sense of excitement and possibility filling her as she drove home. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something real. Over the next few weeks, Emma and Liam continued to spend time together. What started as a casual coffee meeting had quickly turned into something more. They texted each other regularly, sharing small moments from their lives. Emma telling Liam about her shifts at the diner, her latest sketches for her art studio, and Liam sharing his experiences running a successful tech company. Their connection grew deeper with every conversation, every laugh, every shared look. There was something undeniably real between them, and Emma couldn't help but feel that she was falling for him. But despite the growing connection, Emma couldn't shake a lingering feeling of doubt. She was still just a waitress, struggling to get by, while Liam was a powerful CEO with a world of luxury and privilege at his feet. Could this really work? Could someone like her fit into his life? She tried to push these thoughts aside, but the nagging questions kept coming back. What if he was only spending time with her out of pity? What if he was just looking for someone to fill a temporary void in his life? Emma had seen it happen before. People using others when they were bored or lonely, and then discarding them when they had their fill. One evening, as they were out at a local park for a walk, the uncertainty Emma had been feeling finally bubbled up. The sky was a soft shade of pink as the sun began to set, and the cool breeze whispered through the trees. They had just sat down on a bench, the city lights beginning to twinkle in the distance. Liam had been telling her about an upcoming business trip, but Emma was distracted, lost in her thoughts. Finally, she turned to him, her voice hesitant. "Liam, can I ask you something?" she began, her gaze falling to the ground. "What is this? What are we doing here?" Liam looked at her, a slight furrow appearing on his brow as he sensed the change in her tone. He reached out, gently lifting her chin so she would look at him. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice soft but steady. Emma bit her lip, her heart pounding in her chest. I can't help but wonder. You're this successful, powerful man, and I'm just me. A waitress, working every day just to keep my head above water. I keep thinking that maybe you're just doing this because you feel sorry for me. That maybe when this is over, you'll just walk away like it's nothing." There was a pause, the weight of her words hanging in the air. Liam's expression softened, and he reached for her hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. "Emma, I'm not here because I feel sorry for you," he said, his voice firm but kind. "I'm here because I want to be here. I want to get to know you. I want to spend time with you. The way you see the world, the way you dream about your art studio, it's something I admire. You're not just a waitress to me. You're Emma. And I'm not walking away. Not from you." Emma felt a mix of relief and disbelief wash over her. She had never heard Liam speak like this before, and the sincerity in his eyes was undeniable. He wasn't just saying this to ease her insecurities. He was saying it because he meant it. "But how can this work?" she whispered. "I don't know if I fit into your world. I'm used to being on the outside." Liam paused, then stood up and gently pulled her to her feet. He took both of her hands in his, looking into her eyes. "Emma, this world, my world, it doesn't matter. What matters is what we have between us. You don't have to fit into my world because I want to fit into yours. I want to be part of your dream, part of your life. I'm not asking you to change for me. I just want to be there for you, however you need me. The simplicity and sincerity of his words hit Emma harder than she expected. For so long, she had built up walls to protect herself, assuming that no one could truly understand her or the life she led. But here was Liam, a man from a completely different world, telling her he wanted to be part of hers. Emma's heart swelled as she looked up at him, her eyes brimming with emotion. I don't know how to be anyone else, she said softly. But I'd like to try being with you. Liam smiled, his expression warm and full of hope. He leaned down, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face before kissing her forehead gently. Then let's do this together, he said, his voice filled with conviction. As they stood there in the quiet of the park, surrounded by the soft glow of the city, Emma realized that for the first time in a long time, she wasn't afraid of the future. With Liam by her side, maybe, just maybe, she could have both love and her dreams. It wasn't going to be easy, but it was going to be real. And for once, that felt like enough. As the weeks passed, Emma and Liam's relationship deepened. They spent more time together, and with each passing day, Emma found herself falling more for him. It wasn't just his success or charm. It was the way he cared about her dreams, the way he listened to her when she talked about her struggles. Liam had become someone she could trust, someone who made her feel like she belonged. Yet, despite their growing connection, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. The nagging voice in her head, the one that doubted her worth, kept telling her that this couldn't last. After all, how could someone like her, just a waitress with big dreams, possibly fit into Liam's world? One afternoon, Emma was walking home after work when she received a message from Liam. Can we talk tonight? I have something important to discuss. The tone of his message was serious, and Emma felt a flutter of nerves in her stomach. What could it be? She had no idea, but her mind immediately began racing with possibilities. Was something wrong? Had he changed his mind about her? She quickly pushed those thoughts aside. She couldn't let her insecurities get the best of her. She had to trust him. Later that evening, Emma met Liam at a quiet restaurant in the city. It was a cozy, intimate place with soft lighting and a relaxed atmosphere. Liam was already sitting at a table when she arrived, his usual confident demeanor replaced with a quiet seriousness. He stood up when he saw her, and for a moment, Emma noticed a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes, something she had never seen before. Hey, he said, his voice softer than usual as he motioned for her to sit. I'm glad you could make it. Emma sat down, her heart racing. Of course, she replied, trying to keep her tone light, though her mind was full of questions. What's going on? You sounded serious in your message. Liam took a deep breath, running his hand through his hair as he looked at her. There's something I've been thinking about, he began. Something I've been wanting to tell you for a while now. He paused, his eyes searching hers for understanding. I don't want you to think I'm trying to rush things or that I'm making assumptions, but I need to be honest with you. Emma's heart thudded in her chest. This was it, the moment she had been dreading. What if this was the end of them? What if he was finally admitting that he couldn't be with someone like her? She tried to steady her nerves, waiting for him to continue. Liam reached across the table, gently taking her hand in his. His touch was warm, grounding her in the moment. Emma, I care about you. More than I've cared about anyone in a long time. You make me want to be a better person, and I can't stop thinking about the future. I know we come from different worlds, but I believe we have something special here. Something worth fighting for. Emma blinked, feeling a mixture of relief and confusion. Was he saying what she thought he was saying? I care about you too, Liam. But I don't understand. What are you trying to say? Liam smiled, a small but genuine smile, and took a breath before continuing. I'm asking you to take a chance on me, on us. I want to build a future with you, Emma. I want to help you make your dreams come true. I'm not perfect, and I know this won't be easy. But I want to try, and I need you to trust me. Emma's chest tightened as his words sank in. She had never expected him to say anything like this, not in a million years. She had always been so careful with her heart, so afraid of being let down. But in that moment, all her doubts and fears seemed to fade away. She looked at Liam, truly looked at him, and for the first time, she allowed herself to believe in the possibility of their future together. You really mean that? She whispered, her voice shaky with emotion. Liam nodded, his expression earnest. I do. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Emma took a deep breath, her heart pounding in her chest. She had always been afraid of taking risks, afraid of stepping out of her comfort zone. But in Liam, she saw someone who believed in her, someone who wanted to be part of her world, not just her dreams. She knew, deep down, that this was her chance. This was the moment she had been waiting for. Then let's do it, she said, her voice steady now, filled with hope. Let's take that chance. Liam's face lit up with a smile that made Emma's heart swell. He leaned across the table, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear before gently kissing her cheek. I promise I'll make it worth it, he whispered. In that moment, Emma knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. This wasn't just about love, it was about building something real, something worth fighting for. And for the first time in a long time, Emma felt ready to take that leap. In the weeks that followed, Emma and Liam settled into a rhythm. Their relationship blossomed in a way neither of them expected. Emma continued working at the diner, pouring her heart into her art, while Liam supported her dreams in every way he could. He attended her art shows, encouraged her to take the steps toward opening her own studio, and even connected her with people who could help. The more they spent time together, the more Emma realized that what they had wasn't just some fleeting romance. It was real, and it was worth fighting for. But life, as it often does, had a way of throwing curveballs. One morning, Emma received a call that would change everything. She was in the middle of her shift at the diner, the clinking of plates and cups filling the air, when her phone buzzed. It was her landlord. Emma, I need to talk to you. You're behind on rent again, and I can't keep giving you extensions. You've got one more week to pay, or I'll have to evict you. Emma's stomach sank as she listened to the words. The pressure had been mounting for months, and now, it was all coming to a head. Her mind raced as she hung up the phone, her thoughts spinning. She couldn't lose her apartment, not after everything she had been working for. Her art, her dream of opening a studio, it all felt so fragile. She had already cut back on everything she could. No more expensive coffee, no more going out, just working hard and saving every penny. But it wasn't enough. And now, she had only 1 week to find a solution. Later that day, Emma met Liam at a small cafe. She was trying to act normal, but the anxiety was eating at her. She couldn't hide it any longer. She needed to tell him what was going on. Liam noticed immediately. His usual warmth and easy confidence seemed to fall away as he studied her face. Emma, what's wrong? He asked, his voice gentle but concerned. She looked down at her hands, twisting her napkin in her fingers. It's the rent. I'm behind, and my landlord says I have a week to pay or I'll be out. I don't know what to do, Liam. I've tried everything, but it's just not enough. I don't want to be a burden, but, she trailed off, feeling the weight of everything pressing down on her. Liam was silent for a moment, but when he spoke, his voice was steady. Emma, you're not a burden. You never have been. I've seen how hard you've worked for everything, and I admire you for it. But you don't have to go through this alone. She shook her head, her heart heavy. I can't keep relying on you. You've already done so much for me. This is my problem, not yours. Liam reached across the table and took her hand in his grip firm and reassuring. Emma, let me help. Let me take care of this for you. You've been there for me when I needed someone to talk to, and I'm here for you. I want to see you succeed, and I want you to have the chance to chase your dreams without worrying about your next bill. Emma felt her breath catch in her throat. She had never imagined someone would offer to help her like this, not just with words, but with real action. She had spent so much of her life being independent, convincing herself she could handle everything on her own. But now, with Liam offering this kindness, she realized that maybe, just maybe, she didn't always have to carry the weight alone. Are you sure? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper, vulnerable in a way she had never been before. Liam smiled softly, his eyes locking with hers. I'm sure. You've done more than enough on your own, Emma. Let me help you, just this once. For a long moment, Emma sat in silence, feeling a mix of gratitude and fear. She wasn't used to accepting help, and part of her still felt guilty for needing it. But she also realized that sometimes, allowing someone to be there for you wasn't a weakness. It was an act of trust, of love. And in that moment, she felt the walls around her heart crumble a little bit more. Okay, she whispered, finally giving in. Thank you, Liam. As they left the cafe, hand in hand, Emma felt lighter than she had in weeks. The road ahead wasn't going to be easy, but with Liam by her side, she knew that together, they could face anything. She didn't have to do it all alone anymore. And for the first time in a long time, she felt like everything might just work out. As the days passed, Emma found herself beginning to trust Liam more and more. She had always been independent, but she was learning that it wasn't a weakness to accept help. Liam had taken care of her rent, and she couldn't remember the last time she felt this much relief. It wasn't just the money. It was the fact that he had offered to help without hesitation, without expecting anything in return. For the first time in a long time, Emma felt like she didn't have to face everything alone. One afternoon, as they sat together at Liam's apartment, Emma found herself opening up to him in ways she never had before. She told him about her childhood, about the struggles her family faced when she was young, how she had always felt like she had to be the strong one, the one who held everything together. She told him about her mother, who had passed away years ago, and how she had been the one to help her father keep their small family business afloat. Liam listened intently, his gaze never leaving her face, as if absorbing every word she said. "I never wanted anyone to feel sorry for me," Emma said, her voice tinged with vulnerability. "I always thought I had to be the one to fix everything. But sometimes, it feels like I'm just running in circles, like nothing is ever enough." Liam reached out, gently taking her hand in his. "You're not alone in this, Emma. And you don't have to carry all that weight on your shoulders anymore. You've done so much on your own, and I admire that. But now, we're in this together. I want to help you, not just because I care about you, but because I believe in you. You're capable of so much more than you know, and I want to see you reach your full potential." Emma's heart swelled at his words. It wasn't just that Liam had supported her financially. He was supporting her dreams, her hopes, the very essence of who she was. She hadn't realized until now how much she needed someone to believe in her. She had spent so much time doubting herself, questioning whether she could ever make her dreams come true. But now, with Liam by her side, she felt like anything was possible. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice soft with emotion. "I don't know what I'd do without you." Liam smiled, his eyes filled with warmth and affection. "You don't have to worry about that. You'll never have to do this alone again, Emma." The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of excitement and progress. Emma started making plans for her art studio, and Liam continued to support her every step of the way. He introduced her to people who could help bring her dream to life: artists, gallery owners, and even a local business mentor who had offered to give her advice. The more she worked toward her goals, the more confident she became in herself. She was finally starting to see the path ahead of her clearly, and for the first time, she truly believed that her dreams were within reach. But just when things seemed to be falling into place, Emma received a call that shook her to her core. It was from her father. "Emma, I need to talk to you," he said, his voice unusually serious. "There's something important we need to discuss." Her heart skipped a beat. "What's going on, Dad?" she asked, her mind racing. "I've been offered an opportunity to sell the business," he said, his voice heavy with hesitation. "And I need your opinion on whether we should do it or not. It's a big decision, and I want to know what you think." The call ended shortly after, leaving Emma with a sense of dread hanging over her. The family business had always been their lifeline, their foundation, and the idea of selling it felt like losing a piece of her past. She didn't know what to do, and the uncertainty weighed heavily on her. It was the last thing she expected, and now, with everything else in her life starting to come together, she couldn't help but feel like she was standing on the edge of a cliff, unsure of what to do next. As she sat in silence, Liam noticed the change in her demeanor. He could see the worry in her eyes, the tension in her shoulders. "Emma," he said softly, his voice steady and reassuring. "Whatever you decide, we'll figure it out together. You don't have to face this on your own." Emma looked at him, her heart filled with gratitude. She didn't have all the answers yet, but with Liam's support, she knew that no matter what decision she made, she wasn't going to face it alone. In the days that followed, Emma spent hours thinking about the conversation with her father. The family business, the one she had worked so hard to keep afloat, was being offered for sale. The decision felt heavy, like it could change everything. She wasn't sure if she was ready to let go of the past, but at the same time, she knew that her future was waiting for her. She had spent so much of her life living in the shadows of her family's legacy, and now, for the first time, she had a chance to create her own path. But the pressure of making the right choice was overwhelming. One evening, after a long day of thinking, Emma found herself sitting with Liam in the park. The night air was cool, and the sound of the city buzzed softly in the background. She had told him about her father's offer, the weight of it all, and how torn she felt. Liam had listened quietly, offering only words of support. And now, as they sat together in the peaceful quiet of the park, Emma realized that she didn't need to figure everything out right away. She had been so focused on getting everything perfect, but maybe it was okay to take a step back and let things unfold naturally. "I've been thinking about it a lot," Emma said softly, her voice filled with uncertainty. "It's hard, you know? The family business, it's all I've known. But I also know that if I keep holding on to it, I'll never be able to move forward with my own dreams. And that's what scares me the most." Liam turned to her, his expression gentle yet filled with understanding. "Emma, I don't have the answers. But what I do know is that you're stronger than you realize. You've already built something incredible by following your passion. And you don't have to have everything figured out right now. Take your time. Whatever decision you make, I'll be here with you every step of the way." Emma looked at him, her heart swelling with gratitude. He had been her rock, the one person who always believed in her. She had spent so much of her life doubting herself, but Liam made her feel like she was capable of anything. She smiled, the weight on her shoulders feeling a little lighter with each word he spoke. "Thank you," she whispered, feeling a tear slip down her cheek. "I don't know what I'd do without you." Liam smiled warmly, wiping the tear away gently. "You'll never have to do it alone, Emma. We're in this together, no matter what comes next." With that, Emma took a deep breath, feeling a renewed sense of hope. She didn't have all the answers, and she didn't need to have everything figured out. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she was allowed to just be, allowed to take things one step at a time and trust that the right path would unfold. The next day, Emma called her father and told him that she needed more time to think. She wasn't ready to make such a big decision without giving it the proper thought it deserved. It wasn't an easy conversation, but her father understood. As she ended the call, Emma realized that the answer wasn't in the business or the sale. It was in the freedom to choose her own path. With Liam by her side, Emma knew that she had the support to pursue her dreams, whatever they may be. And for the first time in her life, she felt confident in her ability to build a future that was uniquely hers. It wasn't going to be easy, but she was ready to take the leap. She was ready to follow her heart. As they walked hand in hand back to their apartment, Emma knew one thing for sure. This was just the beginning of a new chapter in her life. And with Liam beside her, there was nothing she couldn't face.